All right, this episode, I want to talk to you all about the fissures that are forming in this authoritarian regime. And it's super important that we keep an eye on those. The compounding evidence of dementia in Kanks, in his confession that he is taking dementia tests and can identify a giraffe on a piece of paper, and that he is receiving MRIs, the wandering walkabout in Japan. Just this morning in South Korea, he is seen going down the stairs of Air Force One, death grip on the staircase. And so for an authoritarian regime, when the strong man starts appearing weak, more and more fissures emerge. And then the third component of this episode will be the opposition. So first, let's talk about the fissures in just the establishment Republican Party. Kylie put up the tweet. The Senate voted 52-48 to overturn Donald Trump's 50% tariffs on Brazil. 5 Republicans joined Democrats in supporting the measure. Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, Tom Tillis, Susan Collins, I guess she was very concerned about this, and Lisa Murkowski. And this is a very important moment because once fissures start in these authoritarian regimes, when the strong man is appearing weak, and even just those 5 that went and voted with Senate Democrats, it starts catching on like a contagion. Now, if he were over there dunking on everybody and, doing backflips and looking like he was just healthy as shit, this wouldn't be as significant, but everybody is sensing blood. And there are people that are starting to jockey themselves in a post-MAGA, a post-Trump position.
I look at this and I think, these are the same people that have voted along with him time and time and time again. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why aren't they voting to overrule the tariffs on Canada? Why Brazil? What's the underlying thing there? And then Mitch McConnell, he's such a fucking coward. He could have stopped all this. But I do think it's super significant because when Trump comes back, it's going to be an all-out assault on these people. And they must know it.
Yes. And I think their willingness to take that beating shows that there are a lot of conversations that the public is not privy to. A lot of these senators and congressmen behind the cameras are asshole buddies. They're at the gym, they're hanging out, they all agree and talk behind his back. And listen, the 5 that I mentioned there, by no means do I think this is a profile in courage or do I think they're doing anything great. It's more important to me that there is a fissure and that I believe it will start acting like a contagion and a resistance will start building against him from within the Republican Party because these are the people that can stop it. And so this is why these fissures are going to be so easy for them to start doing. Here is Kanks on Air Force One. And the journalist asked him a simple question about the stock market and an artificial AI bubble, much like the mortgage bubble, tech bubbles. And listen to his answer. He has dementia, so he fundamentally either can't follow along, comprehend what the question was, or he has no fundamental understanding of what a bubble means in the stock market. And I am no economist, you guys. I mean, really elementary school level understanding of economics in the stock market. But even I know what a bubble in the stock market means. Play the clip.
Sir, can I ask you?
Look at that makeup.
What's the AI problem?
That's what someone would say that some investments,
There's no problem. Everybody wants AI because it's the new internet, it's the new everything. It's one of the biggest things anyone's ever seen.
Okay. So they asked him, what about the AI bubble, this artificial AI bubble? Not artificial intelligence, but you all know about these bubbles that can form in the stock market. And inevitably, what do bubbles do? They pop. He just skips right over that. He starts talking about everybody wants AI, blah, blah. So that is one of the reasons, because he can't answer the questions to very elementary economic questions. He has no understanding of it, or the dementia is so advanced that he can't even stay along with the question. And here's another example, Pumps. This is just a full blown sundowner hour on the global stage. This just happened in the last 24 hours. Play the clip.
President, we've done so many different things economically, militarily, peace-wise, peace through strength. And yet, 1 year ago, it's not long ago, I was campaigning. We didn't win. We were campaigning.
Okay. So here we have him talking about last year that he was campaigning and he didn't win the election. This is a 911. I mean, I turned on the news this morning after I saw this on the internet, and I thought surely CNN or MSNBC, the Today Show, somebody is going to be saying the president of the United States is so confused, he thinks he lost the election while he is standing on a stage as the winner of that election. Much to my surprise, zero reporting of this. But the importance is this, you guys. He is a frail, strong man, and that is not sustainable. The diagnoses that he has from me and Pumps, who are not doctors, full-blown dementia, is only going to progressively get worse. Biology is catching up with him. Death grip while he descends the stairs. When the strong man is frail, the fissures start compounding.
Well, and here's the deal, too. I mean, he looks like shit. They've gone from orange makeup to full bronzer, which tells me he's super pale because I've never seen so much bronzer in my life.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I look at the walkabout in Japan and just how idiotic he was before the troops. And I think, well, thank goodness he can identify a giraffe on a piece of paper. That makes me sleep at night.
All right, Pumps, it gets worse. All right. This is the president of the United States, okay? And I want to remind everybody that he is spending $300 million on a ballroom. Ballrooms are for typically dining and dancing. And I want you to focus on that last part, dancing, right? And so when you think about people in ballrooms dancing, you think about this elegant twirling and all of this stuff. And I'm going to say it again. We have got a patient that has escaped not just the memory care wing of the nursing home. I'm going to go and say the memory care wing of the insane asylum. Right. All right. The senior division of that. Here he is in Asia, you guys, and this is what he does. All right. So for the viewer, here he is, trying to bust out an 8 count, the double jerk off, and he just looks insane. And it's like, I think people are kind of laughing at him. Like, it is just absolutely humiliating that that's the president of the United States, and he thinks he's a dancer to the tune of $300 million that he's going to build a ballroom that he can dance in.
While I might just add that 40 million Americans are going to go hungry, but thank goodness he's dancing in Asia.
It's a really good point, sad point. All right. And finally, the final piece to this episode is the opposition. So we have fissures forming because the strong man is frail. And then we have the opposition, which I know that a lot of you share with me that we have felt like the opposition hasn't been solidified, that there are facets of the Democratic Party who seem to be full tilt fighters. And then there are other facets, what I call the Democratic establishment, that seems kind of, lukewarm, tepid in their fight against this, that it feels like, and they sound like they want to preserve the status quo of the Democratic Party. There are fighters emerging that, in my opinion, understand that the old school way the Democratic Party does, that we are going to poll people, we're going to focus group, we're going to be very disciplined, we're not going to step out of bounds, we're going to do everything by the book, and we're going to preserve the status quo. Nobody really likes those politicians, and that's why the Democratic Party is polling abysmally. But there's some really savvy ones who are emerging, obviously Zoran Mamdani. And I just want to point out the Democratic establishment did not embrace him, and they actually took forever to endorse. And then a lot of the Democratic establishment was supporting a very Trumpian candidate, Andrew Cuomo. But here's a guy who's running for Senate. He's a congressman now, and his name is Seth Moulton. And he understands that in order to be a modern Democrat, you have to evolve. And Democrats have got to stop with the preservation politics and get into evolution politics and evolve. Think about what Barack Obama did. He opposed gay marriage initially, and then he evolved in his term and then came to support it and lit up the White House after the SCOTUS ruling. And so we need to get back to evolution politics and get away from preservation politics. And let's listen to this clip from this Senate candidate right here.
Do you think that need for a change in leadership would also extend to Chuck Schumer if you were elected to the Senate?
Yes.
Would you want to see? Okay. And yeah,
No, I'm not going to run on a new generation of leadership platform here in Massachusetts and then go down to Washington and vote for the status quo. And so I've been very public about that. Again, respect his service, but time to move on. Mm-hmm. And my opponent has not. He keeps dodging the question.
I want to take a minute to tell you about our sponsor, Shopify. And let me tell you why Shopify is important to us and our podcast. When you first start a small business, it is overwhelming. The website, the packaging, the shipping, there are so many things that you have to concern yourself with that you're like, I don't really have the expertise in that. And that is why Shopify is invaluable. If you want to get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. And let me tell you this, with everyday tasks, Shopify can help. It enhances product images. It will, make your brand go so much better and so much wilder. Turn those dreams into and use Shopify. Give them the best shot at success with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/IHIP. Go to shopify.com/IHIP. Shopify.com/IHIP.
So this is the guy who refunded all of his AIPAC money,
Yeah.
who is looking at the tea leaves and seeing AIPAC money is going to be toxic on the ballot. He returned it. He is getting out in front and he's looking at the abysmal performance of Chuckles. And he is saying, no, I will not vote for him for leadership. I'm not running as an evolution Democrat, an evolutionary Democrat, and going to vote for a preservationist. I'm not doing that. Furthermore, I saw a clip from the guy that is primarying Nancy Pelosi, and he said the same thing. He's primarying her. It's a new Democratic Party. And if he wins, he will not vote for Hakeem. And the Democratic establishment has major issues they need to deal with here because the Democratic Party has members of it that are moving on. And I used to be a very good MSNBC watching Democrat establishment voter. But when you lose twice to a fucking moron, you have to say why. And you have to evolve and you have to self-reflect. And as a voter, if I can do that, then I expect the politicians to do the very same. And to be a Democrat and to be a progressive, to me, means that you have the ability and the open-mindedness to evolve and to change and to grow and to progress forward. If you're a conservative, it's a very static position. And the current Conservative Party wants to take us back to, a pre-1960s world. And so these three things right now, we need to keep an eye on. Fissures, okay? The frail, strong man in this dementia, and the new opposition party. I'm not happy with the current opposition party, but these new stars that are rising up, I'm very, very happy with. And I think this is the way forward for all of us. Pumps.
I would just say when you look at how the Democratic establishment put people in leadership positions in January of 2025, and then you've got Robert Garcia who comes out gangbusters. You've got Chris Murphy who is saying, okay, I'm evolving. Let's go. You can actually see in real time what a difference in leadership makes, and how the people that lost to Trump twice and the Senate and the House are still holding on to they have such great ideas. It's like you've lost every game you've played in the last 5 rounds. So fucking take a back seat. It's time, and look at the evidence before your eyes.
I agree. And I just feel like they're so robotic and they come off as conservative in the answering and they're filibustering and not authentic. And I really want to keep an eye on and platform these new voices that are willing to take on the Democratic establishment, the same establishment that lost an election to a convicted felon that then pardoned convicted felons who wanted to kill his vice president. We lost to him. So we have an obligation to look deeply into the Democratic Party and say, why? Why? Because a lot of the Democratic Party wants to uphold the status quo, and the status quo left this vacuum for this criminal grifter that brags about, I can spot a giraffe on a piece of paper. And now he's the president of the United States doing 8 counts like a crazy person over in Asia. All right, Pumps, model the book.
Here we go.
There she is, our beautiful model. Subscribe to our channel, buy our book. We'll be back later with more news.